Alrighty, we're gonna play with something a little bit different. These are some newer products out from Folk Art, and they are the Murano Glass Paints. Alright, so it's a little blurry there, but yeah, definitely these guys have a lot of versatility. You can have so much fun with them. I have been painting on anything, guys. If you guys have been following me for a little while, I'm Mandy from Mandy's Creative Touch, and I paint on glass, wood, fabric, all kinds of different things. And there's always going to be something that's your favorite, and then some things are a little bit more challenging. And we had a frost paint from Folk Art quite a while ago that is now discontinued in the enamels from the acrylic paints that we used to have for the glass. Okay, so if you have the enamel paints for glass or the multi-surface, they're definitely wonderful paints to be able to paint on glassware and make some decorative pieces. We do have to consider that these are like acrylic paints, and they can be baked in the oven to have more durability, but definitely they are still on the decorative side of things. Because I'm a retired nail tech, I know my nails are just beautiful these days. I ended up hurting my thumb. And now I can't do my own nails anymore. It's just, I can't do it. But I got so much years of experience, and I've got a lifetime of glitter from the glitter tattoos I used to play with, and rockstar toes, or twinkle toes, depending on where you're called. We used to put this right into our gel polishes on our nails. And a lot of times it could be mixed, or it could be just sprinkled on. And this is where I kind of, my mad scientist kind of ways of the industry of the nail world meets craft world. Okay, so we're definitely playing around today with a bunch of different products that can be manipulated and play around with. So we have like iridescents, we have opaques, we have translucent ones, frost paints. The Murano glass is so much fun, guys, and you're gonna get a lot more durability on your projects, and especially for glassware, guys. You want to be able to use it, enjoy it, and drink from it, and and handle it, and know that it's not going to get scratched or get damaged in the process of the expense of your product and all that too, wasting all your time, and then you go and wash it and it starts peeling back on you and not looking so nice. So this is some of the things that I have encountered through the years, trying different products, trying different paints. Definitely our multi-surface and or our enamels are the best way to do it. You do get a nicer, higher shine from the enamels, and then your multi-surface paint is definitely more your semi-gloss. Okay, so you don't want to use the regular paint series. They have to be at least multi-surface or your enamels to work on glass, right? So this is some of the limitations that we've had with that, because it's still a paint at the end of the day. So when they went and formulated this new Murano glass, I just loved it. I made this vase here, and I go, okay, this is gonna be my test piece. I'm gonna see how durable it's gonna be and what I'm gonna do to play with it and add some art to it. With this piece here, honestly, I had done the green, the aqua, right? It's an iridescent aqua that I used on the background here, and then I added some of our Folk Art one stroke techniques on top of it. Okay, so when I was starting my rose, no word of a lie, guys, I started making design choice changes in my mind. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. I ran to the sink and I washed off all the paint, and I was pretty rough. And I'm like, okay, if this is going to wreck the glass, if nothing will. It's just so durable. And I was like trying to get all that paint off so I could start over on my design. And I swear, this Murano glass surface part was amazing. It was so durable. Nothing moved. Nothing scratched. I used a scrubby pad like our painter sponges, and because the paint was starting to dry, the paint was having a hard time getting off, and I just scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed, and I thought, well, let's test this, like the worst case scenario, what happens? And I just pick it all off and repaint it, right? And it didn't go anywhere. I was so amazed. So I washed it all off, and then I came up with this little design, and then I thought, no, we need to add some more bling and a little bit more interest, so I want to make it look like a ribbon that was wrapped around a little bit more of a teardrop kind of shape. Okay, so it's a little bit reversed. Right, so the V is at the top at a point, or you can make the V at the bottom as a lower point. Okay, so lots and lots of fun, guys, I've been having, and a lot of people have been messaging me and questioning me and asking me, what are you doing and how you doing it and what are you using? And so I thought that I better come along and give you guys a little bit more information on some great gift ideas, celebrating ideas, and having a lot of fun with glitter, Murano glass, and our one-stroke techniques. So just know that when you're painting on top of glitter, it's bumpy. It's going to be bumpy no matter what. So having those extra coats of layers, you can use something like this over them traditionally. Try to put a little bit more of the product on there, nice and thin. But I did find that if you use the clear Murano transparent clear as your sealer and top coat, it is nice and clear, guys, really nice and shiny. And also you can, once it's cured, like this has been set now for over a week, you could actually, guys, go ahead and sand it a little bit, get some of those higher raised bumps off of it. Make your surface just that little bit more smooth. I used to do this to your nails, right? Your toes, your hands. And then I would put another top coat on it. Okay, whether it would be UV or polish, that would probably take forever to dry. Okay, so definitely that's what I recommend if you're planning on painting on it a little bit. You don't have to sand all of it. Right, you can definitely just put a clear coat over these areas that you're not going to paint on, but definitely if you're going to paint on this area, just having that little bit of a buffer. Now, these nail files have the soft sponge on the one side, and then it's a hard file on the other side. So these are professional files that I had in the industry when I was working. I had a whole whack of them. I used to buy them by the hundreds. So I have enough files to last my crafting career a long time. But you can definitely pick up something similar, to have it a little bit softer with the sponge on the back of them. And then give it a little bit of a sand, paint on it, and then we're going to coat again. Okay, so I know everybody was like, I'm freaking out here. What is she doing? How can she do this? So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of heads up on techniques that I'm going to be playing with, how I made it work. Okay, it will work. It will work. Okay, so after you finish filing on it, you definitely want to make sure that all the dust is off. All right, just give it a wipe with your cloth. And then again, my favorite glass painting brushes, guys, definitely are the white handled ones. This is from a pro set that I had from years ago, but definitely the size is what I'm looking for, like maybe a size 12. Right. And I'm not wetting my brush, I'm just using it dry, and I'm not using any flow medium, just the nice fresh paint. If I feel like I do need it, then definitely using a glass flow medium is going to be better for you than using your floating medium, okay, because this is a glass that we want to make sure that it's going to be washable. But like I said, guys, with this procedure that I'm doing here today, we can definitely put another coat of clear on top of our paint. Okay, so I want to do like a monochromatic type rose, right? So I'm playing around with cobalt blue and white. Okay, so we're just going to put a nice simple rose here. And it just depends on how you want to do your design. You can just do it in one side. You can do it all the way around. Just do simple little 5-petal flowers. Right? Don't have to make all roses if you don't want to. Right? But I thought I would show you guys a little bit of a rose. And I have a full practice program, guys, on roses. If you guys want to learn more about that. Lots of little ways of adding a little one-stroke look to your flowers. Okay, so just a quick little rose there. Okay, you can always add maybe just little buds along the side. Right. Yep, watch those gloops. You don't want it to be gloopy. Nice little chop rose. Okay, just a little quickie little rosebud there. I can always do another one here upside down. And I try not to make it too gloppy, right? So you don't have too far of a ridge. Okay. Oops. And my brush is good and dry. Okay, just a quick little rose there. Can always come in and grab some greens. A little bit of white. Add some leaves in there. Right, put a little one-stroke leaf in there. Right, maybe some side leaves there. Big leaf over here. Right, a little tiny little calyx. You want right, so just adding a little bit more interest there. And you can do it all the way around. your whole glass if you want. And then we can also add a little bit more green in there. I want to use a smaller brush. Okay, so I want to pick up a 6 flat little white. Oops. Yeah, so I like to go side to side to blend in my brush when I use tiny little ones. Alright, so you can always add little tiny flowers in there. And do it in different colors if you want. Right, just adding like little fillers. Alright, little tiny little flowers. Alright, over there. Right. And then I want to add a little bit more green. Right, maybe a little bit of white and green. Right, and you can put the illusion of little tiny foliages in there as well with just taps of light green. Right, little white one stroke leaves almost. Little daisy strokes here and there. Just little fillers. Alright, so there's something a little bit different there. Actually, let's add another couple. Just winging this, guys. I really ain't planning anything. I just gotta, okay, let's try this, let's try that. We need a little tiny bit of a flower there. And just some interesting little fillers. And then you can always add just the smallest. I'm going to just use the corner of my brush, right? Just to put a little dot, couple dots as centers. And then let that dry, guys. Okay, so again, I can keep going all the way around it, add more roses and fill that all in there. Or more leaves. Alright. There's something quick here for you guys to see. This is like my first example one, right? See if I like it. You know, see how durable it is, right? If you guys want to, you know, test it, right? So you're just going to do something simple. Drop it right back off to Goodwill. Somebody will like it. Okay, so just little daisy fillers. And or also little crystals. Okay, so if you guys want to add them, right, you're just gonna use your clear. Where did my clear go? That's frost. Clear. Okay, and then you gotta get your rhinestones ready. So these aren't too extravagant. They're just dollar store ones. Like if somebody wanted to have Swarovski crystals put on their glasses, then you're definitely gonna charge them more money for them. Okay, so this is just a little bit of that wall putty stuff. So you don't have to use a nail on your wall, put paper and pictures on. Right, I like using them to pick up my crystals. All right, so you're gonna decide what colors you want and the sizes that you want. So this little kit had a nice set of variety of sizes. Now the bigger the crystals, the heavier they are, guys. So when I did do some heavier ones, I just laid it on there and I just let it sit flat until it dried, and I didn't want to stand it up. Okay, so we're just gonna use the clear. Okay, and you're just applying like the smallest little uber dots, just enough to wet it. And pick up your crystals, and you'll see that might be a little bit of glue that pops out around it. That's fine, it'll dry clear. Right, so just know that you don't need a lot. Right, so maybe you put too much. But make sure that you're just leaving the smallest amount of a dot of clear. Alright, and then we can always add some crystals to them. But I always like to add my crystals last, guys. So if you wanted to let your painting dry, give it a good 24 hours at least before you put your clear coat on. Right? You want your one stroke to be really good and dry. Right? Or you're going to wait 3 weeks and you can just leave it dry like this. All right? You don't, if you didn't file on it, it'd be still nice and shiny around it. Okay, so I'm just going to put maybe a couple more crystals here at the bottom. All right, just 1, 2, 3. I like putting like little trios. And if you've got too much glue, guys, then it's definitely going to slip on you. So try not to put too much. And believe it or not, this clear Murano glass will hold. They are beautiful. I can't say enough about this product here. My wine glasses, this is all put on with clear. Guys, honestly, if you wanted to use E6000, you can definitely do that. But I find that the E6000 will make your crystals look a little bit muddy. Okay, so that's one thing I learned from the nail industry too, that you don't want to be putting clear on top, because then they look like little bubbles after. They lose the spectrums of your little crystals. Right, all those little edges that make it sparkly. So make sure that when you're putting these crystals on, it's at the very end. I would put another coat of clear, and then I would put my crystals on the wet clear. So just wanted to show you guys how to put them on individually. There's some edges of my roses here that are definitely quite wet, so I will have to let this sit overnight and dry a bit more. Okay. So again, if you want to put maybe a bigger rose buds over here. Now you can put some more in there to fill her up. Right. I like dirtying my white with the citrus too. It gives it a nice glow. Alright, it's just little tiny roses buds. And just to kind of wrap it around a little bit more. Alright, just a quick little demo for you guys. Okay. There we go. Go get that smaller brush here again. Put some little fillers in there. Some movement. And yeah, go back to my bigger brush again. Okay. Oh, that's really big. And we'll put another little leaf over there. This is what I like about the crystals, guys. If you want to put more look in there, like wherever you think is a bald spot that you just don't want to put another leaf, and or you feel like, you know, what else could I put there? Because I don't like the way there's a bald spot in there. You know, definitely that's great spots to put more crystals. Right. And when I go and do my clear coat on this after when it's really good and dry, I'm going to try and work around those crystals a bit, so I'm not going over them. So as many as you want. I try to put, you know, small, medium, large sometimes. It's so easy it is to pick them up with a little tacky. And just make sure that they're flipped over. And we've got lots of little crystals. Getting carried away, I know. Alright. Alright, so I will let this dry really good, and then I'll come back and I'll show you guys how I put my clear coat around it. Okay. If you want, you can definitely put, you know, crystals around the bottom. Give it lots of bling. You can also, if you notice, I'm making dots. So if you wanted to add white, you could, add just little white dots for decoration, just with your Murano glass. Okay, so I'll put some nice big ones down here. These are definitely a little bit, don't want to let go. That's big ones. It's a really special one. It's got lots. Sometimes it's better to do a couple dots at a time. That way you can space them out better. A little less on there. Try not getting any of your product on the shiny bits. Alright, so like I said, it's always nice to have a test glass, right? So you're just gonna make sure that you're happy with the results. And then once you know that your idea is gonna work, then definitely you can go ahead and make a whole set. Alright guys, so there's a nice blingy one. And then I'm gonna let that dry overnight. Alright. Add more dots to it if you want, instead of crystals. Alright, dots also is another great way of just adding a little bit more to it. Okay, so that's it for your one stroke wine glass. Okay, I cleaned up all the glitter. I washed my mat and it's still sitting drying, but I wanted to go ahead and just put a quick coat of sealer on this party glass and show you that there is some areas that I sanded on that are kind of dull, right? So that'll all pop up nicely. Down here is fine. I didn't sand there. I don't even have to put any more sealer on there or around the bottom if I don't want to, but definitely over the flowers. And you know, definitely there's some options here. I played around with a little bit of both. If you want to add a little bit more glitter, then definitely sprinkling just a little tiny bit over the whole area. At this point here too, we could definitely play around with a little bit of dragonfly glaze, which I like to play with too, and just gives it a little bit, I call it like baby glitter. Right, so we're just gonna pop a little bit into the lid here. Right, so it's the same properties as the paint, and we don't really need a lot. Right, so I just want to pop in just a little bit more shimmer on my flowers and leaves and just loosely applying it. Okay, staying away from my gems, and you know, if it goes on top of the glitter area, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I propped up that little bit more festive, right? And you could probably just leave it just like this too, guys. Once you've got this coat of dragonfly glaze, like if you go all the way around on the glitter, this does have sealer in it as well, and will give it a nice shine on your glassware. Okay, so that is one option that you could do, just to kind of give it that little bit more. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera here, but just a nice little light coat of that. Alright, we don't need very much, and that doesn't take too long to dry. Okay. Doing my band-aid, guys. Sorry, I was doing dishes and I ended up cutting myself on a sharp knife. So yeah, we're gonna just dry this a little bit. And it's probably good to let this dragonfly glaze dry for about another hour before you, even though it's a very thin coat, you know, just want to make sure that it's really good and dry before I decide to put any more sealers on there. Okay, so this is, I can't remember if I, gloss finish, top coat. A little bit beat up. Indoor, outdoor. Okay, so this dragonfly glaze is indoor, outdoor safe, right? So when you got outdoor stuff in the rain, you know, definitely you need to have it a little bit more waterproof. But is it, you know, dishwasher safe? That's, you know, another story. Like, it's just such a thin coat that it's there for You know, just that little bit more bling. And then it says on the side of the bottle that it cures in 24 hours, right? So you could leave this for, you know, 24 hours if you really wanted to. But everything else is more important. The structure of what's stuck to the glass is what we really need to make sure is going to be the most durable, right? So I blow dry this a little bit, but it still feels a little bit tacky. Right, so I'm just gonna let this dry for about an hour, and my supper is almost ready, so I'm gonna go and have something to eat, and then I'll come back and do a quick coat on here to finish. Okay, so it's been about an hour. I'm just anxious to get this guy done and dry. So yeah, just a little at a time, guys, because I want to work around my crystals here a little bit, and then I'm gonna actually go right around on top of my glitter edge as well, just because there might be some loose glitter still falling off there. So just gonna take my time and come in and try to work around just a nice light coat, just so that it has a good sealer on it, like the Murano. All right, so you see how I'm just trying to kind of lightly go around my crystals, because really, as a rule, if you put top coat on them, then you lose the little edges on it, and then they're not going to be as shiny. All right, so realistically, I shouldn't have put them on here until I had all my design all done and sealed, and then I could go and easily just pop the crystals on. All right, so I'm trying to get all around my edges. See my in between. And you can kind of see in the light where it's wet. All right, just slowly work my way down. Right, just wipe it off with your fingers if you get any on your crystals. Right, just work around them. As long as you can get everything nice and smooth looking with no streaks. That's why I like these soft white brushes. Alright, so I'd rather put 2 really thin coats on than 1 thick coat, right? It's just going to be so much more smoother looking. And on top of the painted areas, really, as a rule, I would definitely put 2 thin coats to put the sealer on here. So I'm just going to show you 1 coat, but definitely tomorrow morning I'll come along and I'll add another coat on here. Okay, so just in case they're very light, whatever's left on my brush on here. So yeah, I'm not gonna bother down there. I think it's nice and shiny there, but then this definitely pops up any glitter that I had filed on. All right, so it all looks the same now. Alright guys, so I hope you're having fun enjoying these videos. I hope you'll drop me down a like down below and even a comment on how you're liking it. If you have any questions, definitely I'll be checking the comments down below to answer any there. Alright. And or you can always email me as well if you're interested in learning more about one stroke. I have a full program guided in little baby steps so you can practice a little bit at a time to learn all the different ways you can play around with multi-loading your brush. All right. So happy creating, guys.